What is happening to Wizard101? Where have the views gone? Where are the players? And what has happened to the community? Throughout the past year, Wizard101 has been feeling different, and not in a good way. The PvP queues have been empty, with the PvP meta constantly changing. The community has been divided, WizTubers are losing views, and realms have been more quiet than ever. What does this mean? Why is this happening? I believe kingsisle is leading Wizard101 to its downfall. The recent additions of very obvious money-grabbing techniques are honestly kinda shady. For example, spellment packs. They don't give you any idea of the drop rate percentages, and you're literally paying to get spells. The Scroll of Fortune is another example of this technique. It's a battle pass-like feature that costs non-members 15,000 crowns and members 7,500 crowns, all in return for very little rewards like a set of stitch gear, teleport effects, non-permanent mounts, barely usable elixirs, gold, beastman reagents, and other prizes of diminishing quality. These scrolls have been ridiculed by players ever since they came out, and kingsisle hasn't done much, if anything, to improve the quality since then. There hasn't been any new or worthwhile content in months. For example, think of the 2020 summer update compared to the 2021 summer update. 2020 summer update was revolutionary with newly added character customization and gear changes. The game really did feel alive back then. In the same year, Caramel came out. The 2021 summer update was very disappointing. Instead, kingsisle simply added skeleton key bosses. And although they did update Firecat Alley, Haunted Cave, and Cyclops Lane this summer, I personally still feel that those updates aren't noticeable enough to return life to the game, along with the fact that there's no real evidence that those changes actually improved the game. Is the lack of worthwhile content a sacrifice that kingsisle has made in order to focus on other content that actually monetizes the game instead? Okay, think about all of the new packs, key bosses, and Scrolls of Fortune that have come out in the past year, instead of meaningful improvements that they could make. Wizard101 has been out for 13 years, and Wizard City still isn't free, even though the game would largely benefit by making its first world free. It gives new players an opportunity to preview the game. Why improve the first-time user experience if you're gonna lock that experience behind a paywall? Why would a first-time user pay for your game when they've barely even been given a preview? PvP is dead. The meta is constantly changing and making it hard for players to stay in the loop of how to play. And despite loads of player feedback, they can never seem to get it right. We've been asking for 5th Age for over a year, and it's still not out. Even the little things aren't what they used to be. kingsisle once had a birthday celebration where they gave out dragon mounts to longtime players, but in 2020, for their 12th birthday, they added a reskin of the mount as a pet to the crown shop for 10,000 crowns, making a monetization scheme out of their own birthday. kingsisle has literally evolved from giving out free mounts to selling 10,000 crowns pets on their birthday. Additionally, the 2021 13th birthday code consists of no new items. In fact, they're actually giving out an item from their 10th and 8th anniversaries. Yay! As of September 2021, I'm very unhappy with the game's state right now. It feels like Wizard101 is dying. I know that this has been one of the central debates of this game for years. I mean, literal years. But in this period of time, it seems especially relevant due to how low the activity of the community is, and what seems to be endless cash grabs pushed out by the company. No one really wants to hear it or believe it, but Wizard101 is not in a good place. And personally, it's really hard for me to admit this. I've spent a lot of my time defending this game's liveliness, perhaps out of fear of my comfort game closing or losing the sparkle that it once had. But I'm gonna be honest with myself and honest with you guys. After years of observation, playing, chatting, and content making, I'm speaking up about this. Now, don't compare Wizard101 to other MMORPGs. Don't compare it to World of Warcraft, Terra, Guild Wars 2, or even Pirate 101. Compare the game to itself. 2021 Wizard101 versus 2014 to 2019 Wizard101. The game has passed its prime time and has been on a downfall for the past year. WizTubers' views have been plummeting to no fault of their own, because no one wants to watch Wizard101 gameplay anymore. I'm also aware that about 6 months ago, I made a video titled Why I Still Play Wizard101 in 2021. And honestly, everything in there was true, but something about the community has changed since then. And maybe it's been on this track for a while. Now, I'm not even the only one who feels this way. Players are tired of the money-grabbing additions implemented to the game. Pay-to-win spellments are turning people away, Scroll of Fortune is a joke, the paywall is still a thing, PvP is the main endgame hobby that we have, and even that isn't enough. The meta is constantly changing, making it difficult to hold people's attention. The only thing that this game has going for it right now is a new world being added, and that only happens once every couple years. KingsIsle has been slowly killing their game. Player feedback on the increasingly offensive money schemes is abundantly clear, yet these practices only seem to continue. Is there any hope for a soul to return to the game if the company doesn't listen to its players? Well, here's a question. How much of this is the work of KingsIsle, and how much of this is the direction of Gamingo, the company who bought out KingsIsle and its games for $126 million? Were we not optimistic of the changes Gamingo could bring to this game? Is it turning out that Gamingo just sees this game as a source of revenue? Is KingsIsle truly evolving into a company akin of EA, whose games are filled with microtransactions, pay-to-win schemes, and have much of their content locked behind a paywall? It's a lot to think about. I don't really know where we go from here. As a player, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are towards the state of Wizard101. Will Lemuria bring life back into the game? Do you still play Wizard101? And if you do, why? Ask yourself this. Do you have genuine love for this game as it currently stands? Or are you being blindsided by your nostalgia of the 2010s? I want to know what your guys' thoughts are down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this. I really do appreciate it, and I will be reading all of your comments down below. Bye!